We are back to having a fever. So just like I said, if you do sauna, it tricks your body into thinking you're having a fever. Why would you want to do that? Because it keeps your white blood cells like alert and awake, like training for your little white blood cells. So when an invader does happen, your soldiers are ready to go because you've been doing sauna once a week and they've been training. So that's a little extra for you. So advantages of a fever. It increases your white blood cell activity. Pyrogens. So pyrogens actually decrease the plasma iron concentration, which inhibits bacterial growth. What? Yeah, I'm not even kidding. So a pyrogen will actually, here's what's going to happen. A pyrogenic response. So essentially, you get some bacterial infection, and your body starts producing pyrogens. Okay, so here's your bacteria gets engulfed, right? It engulfs specifically things like a gram-negative bacteria because it reacts to peptidoglycan. Oh my gosh, it's like everything we learned comes together, right? So here it's eating some peptidoglycan, and it's like, no, that's not good. My self doesn't have peptidoglycan. That feels like bacteria. So it releases some pyrogen into this blood vessel. What? And what does that do? That travels to your hypothalamus. This is a hypothalamus. And your hypothalamus is like, we got to turn up the temperature in this thing. No more 98.6. We're cranking it up to 102. We're just going to crank that thing up. Now, here's what's important. A fever. This is a completely different section. This is not related to the inflammation, the heat, the swelling, and the pain. That is a completely different process. That's also happening, but that's because of vasodilation. This, a fever, comes directly from the hypothalamus. This is a pyrogen, gets released after we eat the bacteria, right? We've eaten the bacteria. We're like, nope, this is not self. We release the pyrogens into the blood cell. The blood cell tells the hypothalamus, which is basically your thermostat, we got to turn this baby up because we got to kill some bacteria. Okay? So we're turning it up. We're going from 98.6, we're moving it up to 102. Why? Why are we doing that? I hate having a fever. It's bad. Well, bacteria also hate when you have a fever. Bacteria, as you may have noticed, really like very specific temperatures. So the bacteria is like, oh, I'm going to live here at 98.6. No. Your hypothalamus is like, absolutely not. And it races it to 102. Now, you feel like crap, but it is also the bacteria it's fighting off that bacteria. It's saying, no, absolutely not. You're not living here. One of the other things that it does, a fever, some of our processes in the white blood cells and things actually work better when you have a fever, and bacteria hate it. So that's why we do it. So we've reset. We feel not great, but our white blood cells feel great. It resets your thermostat to a higher level. Like if you've had any basic talks about this, right? Now all of a sudden you're 102 and you feel, no, I don't feel hot. I mean, you're burning up, but you don't feel that way. And then as your fever breaks, you start feeling like you're freezing. Because your temperature is set at 102 and it's slowly going back down to 98.6 and you're like, why is it so cold in here? That's why. So your pyrogen has sent a message to your hypothalamus that's like, you got to crank it up in here because these bacteria, they're not self cells. We got to kill them. This causes you to shiver. It causes you to, need blankets because you feel cold. You're like, why is it so cold in here? Okay, we good? We good with a fever? Well, no one's really good with a fever, but, right? We're raising the temperature to make the bacteria, to either kill them or cause them to not work as well. Okay, nonspecific phagocytosis. This is the harder one, okay? So, you have natural killer lymphocytes. Who names this stuff? I want to name this stuff. That's amazing. Natural killer lymphocytes. They are definitely kung fu ninjas. Okay? Also, macrophages, neutrophils, eosinophils. They're here. They're all these guys, right? We're starting out here. Some of us are becoming blood cells. Some of us are becoming platelets. And then you have your basophils, your lymphophils, all kinds of other things. Okay. So, your dendritic cells. Oh, I don't know why that's like that. How do they know who to eat? So who does this? All these guys. This is your army. This is your white blood cell army, right? How do they know who to eat? They're like, all right, ninjas are here. Who do we fight? Because you don't want them fighting your self cells. No, only non-self cells. How do they know how to do that? So there are these pattern recognition receptors, PRRs, pattern recognition receptors. They are a little bit like this, pattern recognition receptors. See these guys? Receptors. Okay, they're on the phagocyte surface, like toll-like receptors, recognize and bond to common pathogens called pathogenic associated molecular patterns, PAMPs. Okay, so this is bugging me. Sorry. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. So you have PRRs, pattern recognition receptors. They are recognizing these PAMPs, right? The different kind of PAMPs that are like, hey, not a self cell, right? You have flagellan, you have this one, peptidoglycan. Oh, where would the peptidoglycan come again? Bacteria. Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of them that come off bacteria that are like, nope, that is not, friends, that is not a self cell because you do not make peptidoglycan. No, you do not. So that's why when peptidoglycan presents on its Facebook, like, hey, guess what I had for dinner today? I ate some peptidoglycan, right? I had this delicious bowl of peptidoglycan. I'm going to put it on my Facebook profile. I'm going to take a little picture, put it on Snapchat. And then everyone's like, oh my God, bacteria! And everyone freaks out, right? And the ninjas know where to go because you're the one that just ate peptidoglycan for lunch. Got it? Okay, so let's talk about it again. You eat some peptidoglycan for lunch. You post it on Snapchat. And then your pattern recognition receptors are like, nope, we got to kill it because you just ate some bacteria. So then it binds and it sends the message for phagocytosis. We got to eat that thing. We got to eat it because it's bad. We have to eat it. Sometimes the foreign invaders cannot be phagocytized. They can't be eaten. Because the particles bind to bacteria and enable them to recognize them as food, or typically antibodies can act as why can I not say that? Opsonins. Okay. Sometimes the pathogen are posted on the MHC platforms to say, hey, come and get this. And this is the MHC platform is going to activate acquired immunity, which we will talk about next time. Okay, so this is again what it looks like. Here's your invading bacteria. It gets phagocytosed. Yes, it gets eaten. Phagocytosed, right? It gets broken down. Also, a little piece of it goes over here to your Golgi, which is going to break it and send it back out as on your Facebook, right? It's going to put it on your MHC platform. It's going to put it on your PRRs. It's going to say, hey, I just ate some peptidoglycan, or I just ate this flagellan, or I just ate this thing. And then something's going to come along and get it. Sometimes they're posted on MHC platforms. Sometimes they're posted on pattern recognition receptors. And then, oh friends, natural killer cells are going to come along and they're going to kill it. Apoptosis. Dead cell. Okay? Natural killer cells are specialized lymphocytes. They make up 2% of the population, and they destroy self cells that are malfunctioning. So if you're like, one of your cells is all wonky, natural killer cells are going to come get you. They identify cells lacking normal MHC proteins. So if you haven't posted anything to Snapchat for a while, the natural killer cells are going to come get you. The removal of these proteins happens to an infected cell by a virus, right? So you're not necessarily posting something bad, but it like has removed your Snapchat altogether or your Instagram or whatever. And it's like, you've not been posting anything. So your natural killer cells are going to come. And this is also cancerous cells, by the way. This is really the best way that we fight viruses, natural killer cells. It kills the cell by promoting apoptosis. So granzymes like degrade it and perforin pokes holes in it. Apoptosis. Okay, complement. Basically, complement is a cascade of chemical reactions that pop, again, apoptosis, and promote inflammation. It's essentially 25 plasma proteins and 25 reactions. Look at that thing. Opsonins, again, promote complement, and we will talk about it more in the lecture, but it is basically antibiotics.